is left for you to take action for whatever we are going to be discussing, right? So all we are just going to be doing is to enlighten you. The action still relies, it's solely your responsibility. So action is going to be solely your responsibility. So welcome, welcome, welcome. In the next 30 seconds, we'll just be starting straight up. So in the next 30 seconds, we are going to be starting straight up. So while we are waiting for one or two other people to join us, can we just go to the chat room and type our name and where we are joining us from? Just go to please mute your mic so that we all enjoy the class together. Mute your mic, just go to the chat room, type where you are joining us from. So while we are doing that, you are all welcome. More people are still joining us, so more people are still joining us. So like I always say, this session is going to be made available. The replay will be made available. And some people have even accused me. I said, why am I doing all of this, right? I just believe that when people know better, they do better. So that's my own beliefs. Okay, we have people from Akure, we have somebody from the UK, we have somebody from Surulere, we have somebody else from Port Harcourt. Wow, amazing. So like I said, these sessions are being recorded, so the replay will be made available. So in case network, especially for those of us that are from Nigeria, so in case network kicked us out at any point in time, so the session will still be made available. Will still be available for us to watch. Okay, so you're all welcome. So let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Okpeoluwaoni, for those that are meeting me for the very first time, and for those that are not meeting me for the very first time. So we are all welcome. So tonight we are looking at the follow-up, all the Thursdays in the month of June. We are looking at how to convert your dormant property into cash flow. So do you have any property that is not making money from you? I always believe something, that every investment that you have must be doing two things. Number one, it must be giving you cash flow, or it must be increasing in value. It's either doing these two things or it's doing the two together. What I mean is that it's giving you cash flow, and at the same time, it's also increasing in value. So real estate must be giving you that leverage, and it's very, very important. So last week we looked at some few definitions. I'm not going to do revision because of time. So we look at some few definitions, and we're able to run through some of the things that we can quickly do. I hope some of us have taken action. I hope some of us have taken action. And today I'm going to be diving into some of the reasons, and I'm going to be I'm also going to be, somebody saying no volume. Please, if you can hear me loud and clear, just type 1. If you can't hear me, I don't know. I want to assume that my volume is good, but I love feedback also. Somebody say no volume. Please give me feedback. So what's going on with my volume? Okay, so like I said, so I need feedback from another person whether you can still hear me. Okay, 1, that means you can hear me. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. So that means everybody can hear me. So like I was saying, last week we looked at some of the things that you can quickly do to turn around your property. So today we are taking it further, and I believe it's going to be an interesting session that we're going to be having today. So in case you have any question, we might not have the opportunity to unmute everybody, but if you can if you can write it down or type it in the chat room, okay, it will help a great deal. When you type in the chat room, it will help us a great deal so that we'll be able to. No, you can't ask question now. So please, you can ask question now. And if you can't hear me, I will suggest you leave the meeting and join back. Afterwards. Okay. So that's what I would suggest. So you cannot raise up your hand now and you cannot ask questions now. So let's go straight forward to where we are. So if your property, please permit me to take water. Apologies, this is my fourth session of training today. So basically, if your property is not making money for you, it's usually called debt capital. It can be increasing in value, but it's not really making cash flow for you. That's property that we usually call debt capital. And debt capital in real estate is asset that is not producing money for you. You have it, like I always share. In fact, I still shared it this earlier hours of today with a group of people. I said you can be rich in assets and be poor in cash flow. Maybe I'll repeat that. You can be rich in assets and be very poor in cash flow. You can be so rich and have assets in billions, right? So rich, have assets in billions, but when it comes to cash flow, you are very, very poor. You can have assets in billions, but you can need 10,000 naira, 1 million naira, and it will put you to shame. That's the thing about real estate. No, it's not something you can just say. It's not like phone. You can't take it to phone store or where they are selling phone, like we usually say in this part of the country, computer village, and just sell it immediately. No, it does not work that way. It doesn't what? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So you have to find a way. The property will be giving you cash flow on a more consistent basis. Then you can also, okay, should I sell it and all of that? And we are going to be looking at some of the things you can actually do to that, right? So another thing about debt capital is that probably you own a property in a place whereby the supply of that type of property is more than the need, right? The supply could be more than the need. So if the supply is more than the need, then your property can be in a very idle state, and nobody will come and rent it. Nobody will come and right. Different cases like that. And because property is immobile. If, for instance, now for those of us that are from the southeast, we will have seen this a lot. A whole lot of people have mansions in their their villages, and they are working in Lagos, they are working in town. But anytime that property is not being used, is actually a debt capital. It's a capital that you have just tied down and is not really producing assets for you. And there are so many reasons why it's not going to be producing assets for you. We are going to be looking at some of them today and how we can break forth from them, right? So, like I said, real estate must be doing two things for you. It must be giving you cash flow, or it must be what? Increasing in value at every point in time. Okay, so let's quickly take it a little bit further today. And I think last week I also did a little bit of definition of what is a debt capital, was an idle property, and all of those things. So when it comes to, say, property is idle, so that means the purpose of that property. Let's say you have, I'm going to be using some of us as example. So although I won't be mentioning your name, somebody reached out to me here, and he was building an hotel. One of the people that joined us last week, he was building an hotel, and the hotel that he was building, at some point it got stuck, and he sent me the video. I've looked at it and all of that. I said, okay, well, based on some of the things I'll be sharing with you today, because I can't be, most of you have sent me a lot of property, there's no way I'll be there with you, right? So some of the things I'll be sharing with you today, you can get answer, okay, from them. So it's not that hotel, for instance, now he's stuck, he couldn't finish the hotel, and he doesn't really know what to do next. So for you to finish building an hotel, you need to finish the structure, you need to furnish the hotel, you need to do a whole lot of stuff in the hotel. So you can't just build an hotel. It's not like you're building a house. If you are building a house right now, you can even rent it out, and the people that are coming to, if you have put basic things there, it is people that are coming to rent it or lease it that will what? That will finish the rest. So your own responsibility is just to put it at a particular state that is tenantable, right? And the tenants are coming to what? To fix the rest. Okay? So example of some of these idle properties and dormant properties is the fact that a vacant plot of land in the city. I don't know whether some of you, I stay within an estate, very exclusive and enclosed estate. And there are some couple of plots of land within that estate. And those plots of land have been idle for a very, very long time. Right? That is a dead capital. And most of the time, anytime I'm doing prayer work or jogging or doing exercise within the estate, my brain is always telling me that the owner of this property can actually do a lot with it. While this property is being gated and locked up, in fact, one of the property, to tell you how valuable this property is, a plot of land within my estate is 280 million naira. 280 million naira. Yes, the person bought it at 2.5 million naira. The person bought that property 20 years, is it 20 or 15 years ago? 20 years ago at 2.5 million naira. And now it's 280 million asking. The last price he said he was going to sell was 250 million naira. Just one plot, 600 square meter. A little bit over 600 square meter. Yes, it has increased value. But what if that property that has increased value is also bringing in cash flow? What? No. So if you are in that situation, you have a piece of land somewhere. I should go and look at my video last week. I share some of the things you can do with idle property. And I'm going to still touch on them a little bit today. Okay, but it will not be as comprehensive as last week. So another example of idle property is an uncompleted building. I mean, that one is plenty. In fact, most of the questions that have been sent to me privately is uncompleted building. And I understand. I've been there. In fact, I'm currently in the situation because I'm a developer too. And there's a project we've been doing now for, in fact, before this meeting, I was talking to the contractor in charge of the project. We've been on that project now for different reasons. We've been pausing and stopping, and we're about to do painting. We're about to paint the project now. So we've been on this property now for like almost 6 years now. Yes, almost 6 years. By the end of this year, it will be 6 years. Of course, we don't even want our deadline is this month to finish the project. But that is what I've been there. And initially, that property was supposed to, the total cost of finishing that project was less than 250 million. But as I'm talking to you now, we have spent 600 million on that project, and we have not still finished. And we are still spending. Because when we started the project, I mean, we all know what dollar was. But look at it right now. And we are still not finished. And what we still have to spend on that project is almost in excess of 50 million. Because we are in the state where the project is just going to be gulping money and money and money and money and money. And these are the realities of the time that we live in, especially when you are doing projects in Nigeria. And for those of us that are outside the country, some of the things I'm going to be sharing too are universally, I mean, depending on the law. Although designing this, I was wearing the cap of being in Nigeria. So you can just tweak them and see how we can implement them in the country that you are right now. So sometimes commercial property too that does not have tenants. For those of us in Lagos, I think I noticed it also in Abuja. There was a time plaza is always very selling. It's always in vogue. People will build block of shops, plazas, and people will just buy them. But these days, if you do it, you are going, I mean, I don't know how you'll be able to sell it because it does not meet the current need. It doesn't meet the current need. So what is the need of the market? So you can see a lot of buildings now that are, in fact, there's one particular plaza, it was converted to school. Now the school now has been converted to of housing. See, let me tell you something. Residential real estate cannot go into extinction. Commercial real estate can go into extinction. Why I said so is that, see, my wife does clothing business and she does not have shop. And the turnover she's doing, she can afford to even buy a building. But she doesn't have shop. She operates from her house. She can afford to rent, buy, do anything, all these lock-up shops. She can afford to buy them. But operating from the house, we did an analysis that, see, at this stage of your business, if you are not occupying a whole building, buying just one shop will not make sense. It's better to just be operating because everybody buys from her online and they want to do delivery. Only few people come and check. As soon as they see it online, they just buy. And that is the age and time of business. So even if you are going into commercial property, you need to think that, oh, I'm not going into a market people are running away from. Because when I see people building hotel, I just think that, did you think through this thing at all? Because even if you are going to build an hotel, you need to do a need assessment, and also you need to model it in such a way that you can flip it from hotel and flip it to a short let, so that you not just have assets and your cash flow is not. Because I remember several times when I go to the United Kingdom, I always stay in hotel apartments. There's always this hotel apartment. So it has an hotel feel, it has an apartment feel. So these are the future, right? Especially when it comes to commercial city. If you are staying in Abuja, Port Harcourt, Asaba, Warri, Lagos, all those commercial city, you need to take note of these. Very, 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 very important. So sometimes too, there can be houses that were used to be tenanted before, and now because of lack of maintenance, right? Because of lack of maintenance, there's possibility that nobody is attending to the property. It has now become dilapidated. Government has come to mark it. You are confused. You don't know what to do with it. You are in the right class. You are in the right class. So let's quickly look at some of the reasons why some of this property, okay? So the reasons why some of this property go into idleness. So that if you are here and your property, so that in case you are here and your property has not even gone into idleness, right? So that your property will not go into idleness. That's the reason why I put this session, this particular session now, so that your property will not go into idleness. Because I have most of the mistakes that I correct people on, I just see a lot of people still making the same mistake. A lot of people just still go back and just make the same mistakes, and that sometimes doesn't really make me very, very happy. So I had to include this session. I said, so why do this property go into this idleness? Number one is location. Location is very important in real estate, and it determines a lot of things. A lot of people take the aspect of location, they take it with a lot of pinch of salt. They don't take it serious at all. They don't take it serious at all, right? So location is very important. I remember many years ago, we have a development somewhere outskirts of Lagos, and a guy came to meet us, and he said he wants to build a school. And the realtor that marketed that location to him was telling him that he can build a school. And when the guy got to us, I said, no, you can't build a school in that place. That land is for land banking. It's not for school. It is for what? Land banking. It is not for school. It was one day that, is that you people, I'm paying you. Is that I don't want to collect money from you? I said, no, it's not about collecting money from you. Your property purchase must always align with purpose. If your property purchase does not align with purpose, it does not make any sense. The guy was just wondering and all of those things. So he eventually wanted to do 1 acre because the land was quite cheap there. We're selling, I think, one plot for 200,000 naira. So 1 acre was like 1.2 million. So he just said, okay, let me just buy one plot. He bought one plot and he went ahead and started school in that place. As I'm talking to you, he has not, that was almost 10 years ago. As I'm talking to you, he has not finished building that school because that place was a wrong location. Even though we advised him, but he didn't listen to the advice. There's no way. At some point, he tried to use the uncompleted building to start the school. The school no start. Oh. I told him, is it ghost or spirit that will come to the school? The need of that area is not school. The need of that area is not school. So the other thing again is financial challenges. That's one of the major, in fact, most abandoned projects right now. The reason why they are abandoned is as a result of financial challenges. People are broke. People are broke. And I'm not saying this to slight anybody, but that's just the reality of what the economy is saying right now. Cement is expensive when you start a project at a particular cost. By the time you move back to the project, the price just shoot up astronomically and all of those things. So people are broke. That is the reality of today's market. So financial challenges, and you know, there's sometimes too, maybe the business you are doing, you got slowed down at some point. You know, immediately Tinubu came to power. One of the things we noticed in real estate is that sales dropped because a lot of things, cost of living went up, right? Cost of living went up. So instead of people thinking of buying property, they have to think of eating first. It is when you have eaten that you think of buying property now. So financial challenges. So the economy has a way of touching some of these things. Very, 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 very important. Okay? I hope we are still together. If you are still with me, just type 5 in the chat room. I don't want to be talking to Mike only. So if you are still with me, just type 5 in the chat room. I just want to know whether, oh, thank you very much. Thank you for Mr. Praise for that feedback. Okay? So number 3 is rising cost of construction. For instance, the project I mentioned to you that we've been on now since 2019. One of the reasons why it was stuck, at some point we changed our mind. That was actually why it took long. So we wanted to start the project. We had some couple of money that we needed to use to start the project, but we did the viability test. We just realized that no, that's not the project we should start first. We started another one and we finished that one within 6 months. So by the time we now move back to this project, cost of things have gone up. We started, cost of things just keep rising. So cost of construction. So it now looks like, it's like this thing, we will not stop spending money. We just keep spending and all of those things. So cost of material is very, very important. Somebody said I'm breaking. If you can hear me loud and clear, just type 1. If I'm breaking, let me know too. Oh, thank you very much. So please check your internet. If I'm breaking, it's possible that it's your internet. So thank you for the feedback. So number 4, reason why this thing happened. So you see, note what I'm talking about. Count your cost before you go into construction. Count your cost. Count your cost. Number 4 is investment viability. As it is right now in Nigeria, if you did a viability test 3 years ago, that viability test can't work. In fact, viability test that we did 2 years ago, need assessment test, let me use that simple English, need assessment test that you did 3 years ago cannot work again. Could work? You don't feel work. In Nigeria of today, it can't work. It's not possible. So you have to do another need assessment because your investment will just go idle. So somebody, I remember a man came to meet me and he brought some money from Qatar, did all of that, bought a land in Ikoyi. We were just discussing, I was just pitying the man. Because at that point in time, he has spent more than 50% of the money he brought from, and he has not even started work on site. Because he was, you know, It was a disaster. As I'm talking to you now, that project, after spending over 1.5 billion, they've not even done roofing of the project. In fact, I always tell the guys, see, stop mentioning the figure you have spent so that they will not kidnap you. Because it was just ridiculous. It was just spending and spending and spending because solid need assessment was not done. So your investment viability can change. Like I was at a project yesterday. It was a 1,200 square meter school, and now the school has closed down. The school closed down because the school is within an estate, and that estate cannot accommodate more than 2 schools because nobody knows the school outside the estate. So the school closed down. So basically the school just closed down. So now they want to sell the place or convert it into housing. So the investment of school, I mean, they built this school less than 10 years ago. Spent millions, I mean solid millions. And I told them something there. It looks like I was a wicked person. I told them they should just pull down the building. But I spend money on if I want to build it. I said, okay, don't worry, renovate it into apartments. What you will spend to renovate it, it will be more than pulling it down and start building it afresh. So we need to do our visibility very, very important so that your project, now the project is I do now. For the past 1 year, nothing has happened on the school. Nothing has happened on the school. So for number five reason why your property can be dormant and you're not making money from it is speculation, land speculation. Land speculation. So basically, some people will just speculate. Don't worry, the land will appreciate, and it refuses to appreciate. And it refuses to appreciate. So speculation. Then number 6 is that owners and ownership. If you have legal issue, court case on your land or in a particular property on where you bought the property, it will also remain dormant and you will not make money from it. So now, after sharing all of this, what is next? What is next? Now that you are stuck, you are now in a situation where you can't make money from your property, you can't buy, you can't do this. So what is next? You don't have money, the project is stalled, you are not generating income, you feel abandoned, and it is not the condition that you planned. You know, when you are doing the planning, in 2-3 years I'll build this house, I'll do this, I'll do all of that, right? You need to now, what next to do? Few things. I've itemized some couple of things that you need to do, and I want us to pay attention to it now that you are stuck. Number 1 thing is this: you need to acknowledge of the emotional trap, because the reason why you feel that you are stuck is because you are emotionally trapped. And this might sound funny, but most of us most likely you are making some decisions out of emotion. Like I said, the school I went to yesterday, the man, I asked them, why did they start school? They just feel that they will need school. I said, who told you people will need school? You need to do needs assessment. So it was out of emotion. They just feel that they will need school. That was just basically the reason why they have started the school. So it was not as if you are a trained educationist. You didn't, just start school because you feel people will need school. And school will be giving you money. Go and ask most people that are school owners. They don't really make so much turnover, profit as such from it. It's not that, the margin is not that much, okay? And most of the time, the reason why most first-time property owners are stuck. You are building your house for the very first time, you are stuck. You are doing some of those things for the very first time, you get stuck because in my 13 years in selling land, I've been selling land now for 13 years. I'm very young, so I know there are people that have been doing this thing probably for 10, 13 years now. I've realized that most people, when they buy a plan, they are buying because most people are buying. So they don't get to really take it. And how would I put it? There's no purpose. I think that's really the main thing. So now that you're emotionally trapped, you need to detach yourself from the property. And how do you detach yourself from the property? You need to put on the thinking cap of an investor. And you need to be logical. Right? Every of your decision, because sometimes some property you need to sell them. Just sell it. I don't know why. Sell it as scrap. Instead of holding on to it, your fund is tight, just sell it as scrap. So you need to detach yourself emotionally from some of those property. Number two is that for any project that you have that is stuck, there's something that you need to do. And I want us to really, really get this, because if you miss number one and number two, there's nothing I want to explain again today that you will be able to solve the problem. You still come back to me, and I don't want to be attending to people individually. You need to step out and step in. Let me give you a perfect example. We have a project somewhere, and I need to use, let me use one of us as an example. Like I said, somebody said he has an hotel that he has built. If anytime you are going to that place, you are going to your site, and you can be going to your site for the next 10 years and you will not see other location apart from your site. You will not see things that are happening in that area apart from your site. And one of the ways you need a new eye to look at your project, you need an extra eye to look at your project, is that you can call a friend. I do this a lot. Anytime I want to go and check a property, I've seen it once, especially when I'm emotionally, it's you, Mr. Pastor Chris. So when I'm emotionally attached to the project, right? Maybe I like the project. It happens to us a lot. When you like a place, or you cherish it a lot, you bring somebody along. In fact, you can tell the person you bring along, don't tell them that if the person knows you own it, okay, no problem. Because if the person knows that you own that property, he will not want to offend you. So he will not give you a blunt answer. So you can just carry somebody along and let them just, what do you think? The owner of this property, just hear somebody else's opinion about that property. And believe me, that second eye might just be the honest opinion on that property. You can do it with 2 or 3 other people. So what that does for you is that it helps you to see your property in a different light. It helps you to what? To see your property in a different light. So think and step in as an investor. Go to that area where that property is as somebody that is coming to look for opportunity. Don't go there because you own a property. Go into that area as somebody that wants to come and look for opportunity. You know the way it's like you are going for house hunting. It's like you are going for what? House hunting. It's like you are going for house hunting. When you are going for house hunting, you are thinking of, hope my landlord is a sane man. The landlord too is thinking of you. Right? Hope the tenant that is coming to is a sane person. Okay? So you need to put on your thinking cap and say, okay, what are the things? Now the properties at this stage. I'm still going to tell you things to do, but these steps are also very, very important, because there's no way I can cover. Cases are going to be different from each other. So go with that new opportunity. Then number 3 thing you need to do is to assess the growth of the area. Assess the growth of the area. I remember a friend of mine, her sister wanted to travel to Canada, and their parent has a property in Ibadan. And they wanted to sell the property. And they sent me the video of the property, because it was a video that was sent to me. I didn't even know the surrounding area. So I contacted some of my guys, my people in Ibadan. They went to the property, and by the time they were coming back, They told me that that property, nobody, yes, every area is developed, but there was a gully that cut access road to that land. So nobody can drive to that land. Say yes, so nobody can drive to the land. So even though people are living, so everybody park their car, they will now take, they'll pay like a makeshift bridge to get to the distance. So you can't drive your car to the land. So that is an assessment or the spot assessment of the area. And most area when that you have property are in these 4 categories. Write them down. Number 1 is either the area is fully developed. The area is fully developed. Number 2 is either the area is still developing. It's not fully developed. People are still building houses. Some people are already living there. So fully developed is an area that people are already living. Right? If it's an area people are already living, it's maybe on your street, you are the only one doing construction. In fact, people are selling houses. So I'm going to be giving you scenarios on what to do depending on the condition of your property. Right? So some areas is going to be a developing area. Maybe 2 people are on your streets. Not everybody, okay? Not everybody has moved in already, you know. So those few things are the things that you can notice in that area. Those are the few things you can notice in that area. But or if the area is even underdeveloped, that in like 2-3 streets you are the only one developing. So that means that area is way underdeveloped. No infrastructure, no access road, no address. Google Maps can't take people to the place. Or the area is just a prospective area. Maybe the area is just good for land banking purpose. When you understand this, then you can then do the need assessment of that area. Let me give a practical example. Let me start using practical example. Somebody reached out to me. I've run this course before, some couple of months ago. And the person reached out to me that he has this abandoned area, blah, 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 and all of those things. And I asked him a question. I said, you should go and do, please, let's mute our mic. Let's mute our mic. Let's mute our mic. Wow. So I asked the person to go and do the need assessment of that area. So he came out with need assessment, which I'm going to be asking you to do also. So he came back and said that, so we concluded that the area needed school. Note my word, the area needed what? School. That there is, in that, the only school in that area is about 4 streets away from his place. And the area is a developing area. There are people, school buses, and there's bad road. So most of those school buses, in fact, the day he went to carry out the need assessment, the rain, it was heavy rain, downpour, that school buses were getting stuck. I said, see, that's what that property is supposed to be for. It's not for, don't be emotional. You don't need to go and. So what did he do? He just put rent on the abandoned property outside and all of that. The place is needed for school. And within 1 week, he got a long-term lease for that place. And they agreed to complete the project and use it for school. I don't know whether you get my point. They agreed to complete the project. So the way he signed it was going to be a 5-year lease. And he gave them some discount. They paid him and they agreed that they were going to complete the project. And in 5 years' time, they will hand it over back to him. So they want to use it for school. It could be hospital. In fact, what I proposed to him was that use the school as equity, have shares in the school, partner with a school person. That was advice I actually gave to him, but he was still emotionally attached to the property. I said the wise thing to do is to just use the property as equity. So please, in case you have any question, just drop it in the chat room. I'll come back and answer all your questions. So I'm going to be pausing very soon so that I can answer your question. That's why this thing is not 1 week. It's a long course. Okay, but I want to make sure that every week you have an assignment, something to go and do, and hopefully I'll be sharing your testimonials just like this also. Okay, so that was what we did. So you need to carry out the need assessment. So after you have done the need assessment of that area, list out all the needs. So some needs can be up to 5, some can be 2, some can be 1. And you need to now ask yourself, you need to match the needs with the potential of the property. So let me use Pastor Praise property as an example, for instance. It's an hotel. After doing the needs assessment, if you realize that hotel will really move in that area, why not partner with a lounge? You know, most lounge transit into an hotel. I know that you are a pastor, this might be a difficult one for you to do. But if you partner with them, they'll be the one running it. You own the asset. They'll just be giving you return. And if you don't, because of your moral standard, you don't want to do something like that, look for another. In fact, there are Christian lounge in Lagos now. Buchi has one somewhere in Ikeja. So just look at the need. And if you feel that this place, hotel, no fit work, now school fit work, convert it to school. Thank God you have not finished it. And if you feel that hotel cannot work, it is shortlets that can work. Look for who you can partner with. Raise investors that you can partner with instead of thinking of selling. 100% of nothing is nothing. 1% of something huge is huge. You understand? Look for it. So match the need of that, because let's assume that I want to be as practical as possible so that we can take things to use. Okay, let's assume that Pastor Praise, for instance, listed 5 things, and out of that 5 things, maybe based on his financial capacity right now, he doesn't even want to spend money on his property at all. Right? He doesn't want to spend any money on that property again. So the next thing he's going to be doing is what? Looking for, out of those needs, that which one will not cost me any money to execute. Because in taking that decision, now the decision you are going to be taking is that the one that will not cost you any money to execute. That's the best decision to take. So out of this need, which one can you properly solve immediately? Then that's the one you go for. But if you have the financial capacity, you can actually convert, then still spend the money, and you know that yes, truly, this cash flow can be working. Let me give you another shocking example. There's a friend. This one is even my friend. There's a friend of mine that had an uncompleted building. Also, he has not done the roofing, and I told him, I visited the place, and while we were driving to that place, because it was an upcoming site too, we saw a carpenter. Note this word: we saw a carpenter that does not have a workshop. He was using the roadside to do his carpentry work. So after we looked at the whole place, so he branched the carpenter's place to tell the guy to do the review cost of roofing, to do the roofing, the wood for the roofing. And I told the guy, I said, why not talk to this carpenter to come and be renting that place instead of him being open? Because the guy was complaining about how uncomfortable where the eye is and all of those things. Just do a 2 years lease with this guy. There's no way the carpenter will want to use that place, that he will not roof that house for you by himself. You just do agreement. The guy will say, because he had a relationship with the carpenter. Because he had a relationship with the carpenter, he approached the carpenter, and the carpenter he roofed the place, used the first 1 year rent as roof, and second year rent he started paying. So these are creative ways to do some of these things. And some of you might be wondering, how do I get people that need the property? I'm very sure we can't touch that today. We are going to look at that tomorrow. How do I get those people? We are going to look at that tomorrow. Okay? What if the need does not fulfill this property? Okay, which is where I'm going to be stopping today. right? What if the need that you have discovered, right, does not match your property, or there's no money to match it, or there's no collaboration available? Okay, so we are going to be looking at some of the steps we can take. Some of them is that you need to lease. How can we lease it, right? If you have done some of the things I've asked you to do today, right now, then we can then look at how we need to lease the property. We need to partner with people. We need to, then how do you get those that you need to partner with? That is where I'm going to be looking, what we're going to be looking at from next week, Thursday. Okay, so this is where I'm going to be drawing the curtain today. So I'll just use the next 5 minutes to take questions. Hopefully we can then take questions. So next week we are going to be looking at the option of selling. How do you sell your property? Then the option of partnership too. How do you go into partnership with people? So those are the other things that you can do that we're going to be looking at. Okay, and I think that's where let me just pause there because of time. So now I'm going to the chat room to look at some of our questions, if there are questions at all. Okay, so Mr. Praise said that my property is a good site for hotel. Is a good site for hotel, but my challenge is that I had a failed transaction elsewhere and it affected the completion. So I was advised to sell it and reinvest it in another business. It's not a bad option, but is that the best option? That's the truth. Is that the best option? If you have people within your network, okay, Mr. Praise, that can come together with you. So, Mr. Praise, let me give you a few steps. You know, we're supposed to have a phone call, but we couldn't have the phone call.